are still having some good behavior. That's basically what surprises me. Let's move on. So look at this report from NUC that I just adapted. If you can see this thing, a university like Calabar has 11,294 staff. Is it GM? Is General Motors? What are they producing? And out of this 11,290, look at the non-teaching, 7,681. So what do you expect? If you have, you see, so what is happening basically is that what we are suffering from is the generalization of failure. What they should have used to pay Farai alone for salary is now distributed among Lagbaja, Logbojo, and all the stuff who are not doing anything with the system. So Farai is subsidizing those individuals who are not doing anything. Yes, that's the way it happens. But the question you should ask yourself before we leave this slide, who employ these people? Academic staff. Is that also? So we are suffering for what we have created. Let's move on, please. So how do we avert the imminent collapse of the system? That's what we should be thinking about. Now, the collapse of the public school system, basic system, is now leading to a segregated tertiary education system that will end up being a caste system. We are creating a socio-economic caste very soon. I've done the study. We are breeding inequities. And from my own small study, University of Ibadan, where are you from, sir? You are from, no, it's not Oyo. You are from, there is one village close to Oyo where you are from. What is that town? Oh, it's from Oyo town. I think I will remember. Akim Orin. Yes, Akim Orin. I know, you know. Now, Akim Orin. Now, the reason I'm asking, sir, is not actually, yes. Now, the point basically is that there is no student from Akim Orin public school system who will end up in UI without doing lesson, without going to a special lesson, or without the influence of the DVC admin. It's not going to happen. But some of us went to the public school system, we didn't know anybody, and here we are. They won't think that some of us are more intelligent than we actually are. They don't just know that we just have grammar. So, do you get the point I'm making here? And that is how the collapsed public school system creates a segregated system where we begin to subsidize those who already have the capacity to pay. So that is the tragedy of the Nigerian system now, that those who can pay are the ones it's being spent on. So when we are saying first and best, what we are doing is that we are first and best in inequities. Now, let's move on quickly. Let's move on rapidly. So, let's go that. I'll move very fast. Don't worry. Within the next few minutes, we'll be done. No, let's go back. Let's go on. Go on, please. Yeah. Now, these are all the problems you are all familiar with. I don't want to rehash them. I don't believe in them. Let's move on. Let's look at the inconvenient truth. Is that this sector is characterized by repeated failures. Interventions have not resolved the problem. Strikes have not too. So repeated failures are evidence of a systems problem. Okay, professor of laboratory, who does a lot of laboratory work. Yes, sir. If we are repeating an error in your laboratory in your experiment, are you going to start quarreling with Francis Ebohari? You are going to look for the source, either in procedure, in the equipment, or even yourself. Is that also? But in Nigeria, we do differently. You are beginning to look and say, one shey, ayeni. And that is the attitude we take. We may not say it in the local way, but that's the attitude. So, problems occur and persist because they are intrinsically systems problems. Undesirable behaviors are characteristics of the system structures that produce them. Systems dynamics, pure. And in any system, what are we trying to achieve? Dynamic equilibrium. Because equilibrium is always shifting. So you need information in order for you to be able to continue to shift with the equilibrium and be sensitive to all the variables that are applying. The problem with Nigeria is that there are no constants. Everything. So, Now is the issue of staff quality, quantity, and mix. I will use a language that those of you in the sciences, medical sciences especially, will know that diversity is a hybrid. It improves hybrid vigor. Abi, you mate your one dog with another dog. You don't mate it with the same. It's called the hybrid vigor. Is that also? It's the same thing with diversity in institutions. Inbreeding, outbreeding. I know of a department once in UI that had everybody from Ogbomoso. I hope it's no longer like that. DVC admin. I hope it's no longer like that. Don't ask me to mention, because you know I told you people that I'm a custodian of secrets. And then in my university, in my hometown, in my state, you can hold a meeting in Edo. And so what is the problem? The problem is that dissent creates environment for debate. If there is no debate, you have a problem. Narrow networks create a new logic of thinking founded on received knowledge and habits or group think. All of these things are destructive. Let's move on quickly because I think I have a signal that time is going. So inadequate systems thinking is a problem. So let's move on. And I'll just mention, for instance, the problem of system thinking. You are buying generators, but you can't fuel them. You are installing smart boards, but you have no electricity. You are building new libraries, but nobody attends the old one. You are building six-story buildings, but the other ones, we don't go there. So this is just a problem of system thinking. I know of one department in UI, for instance, that has 3 generators, but they can't fuel any of them. So move on, please. Now, my problem here, I've done a whole lot of presentation on this, that the model of higher education in Nigeria is not going to work. That's the point I'm going to just, it's not going to work because it is a supply side model, it's not a demand side one, because it constrains students' mobility. And allow to become kings, it's not possible for us to solve our financial problems. We have to create a resource use efficient system that encourages and attention. We pay attention to the ways resources are used. I'll just give you one example: locationalization of facility. While we are raising issues about the absence of facilities in a university, you discover that by 12 o'clock in certain faculties, the facilities are empty, whereas there is in others. So what is that? It's a problem of Okpolo. It's not a problem at all. But TED Fund is so busy building infrastructure. All over the place, you see bird nests and matchbox buildings. All over the place, poorly built, because that's where the graph can come from. So let's move on quickly. I want to be done in the next 10 minutes. Move on. So these are the other issues. And I will pay attention to the issue of leadership. And the idea of the leadership is what is called the law of exponential decay. Is that a bad leader affects a system not only arithmetically, but also exponentially. Everything down the line is affected by a bad leader. But a good omoshe does not affect the system up. So both the system and the people in the system are destroyed because you have a bad leader. So leadership is the game changer. It changes all the characteristics. And where is the problem here? The decapitation of leadership has happened and happens within a system when a vice chancellor is appointed and he retires everybody senior to him. I'm not talking about physical retirement. I mean that they no longer are useful because he wants to be able to control everybody and everybody in the system. That's the time. Or when you change headship of a system all at once, or you appoint cronies, what you do basically is that you subvert hierarchies. You destroy the whole business of a collective wisdom, collective memory. All of these things are subverted. And what do you end up with? You end up with a tragic system. The problem of inadequate integrity and normalization of deviance. what is the problem really here? I'll just give one example. The main paper, the Word version has everything. We have lost what it means to, the reward system is now on its head. We can't even assess people in any rational way. There's nobody who passes through the promotion process who fails. In those days, the mortality rate of professorship was 70% in my department. Today is 100. There's no mortality rate is 0%. Once you put in your papers, they will say they will patch it up, whether or not the person is qualified or not. Now what am I saying? Because I'm sure I'm out of time. What I'm saying is that these are the guys we want to mentor. We are mentoring them very well. And what is going to come out of the system is what we have put into them. They are watching us. They are watching us, marking all you do, hearing the things that you say. Let them see the Savior as he shines in you. Let his power control you every day. They are watching you. I once told my children that they must not eat lying down on the ground. And one day I was tired. I was of distance learning. Excuse me. And I came down. I was on the ground. I was eating. And they were watching me. And I saw that some activity was going on. I didn't know why. Then I called them. I said, okay, what is the problem? They said, but you, Daddy, you said we must not lie down on the ground and eat. But that is exactly what you're doing. I said, is it right? They said, no. So I said, it also tells you that your daddy can be wrong. That the fact that your daddy is doing it, doesn't make it right? I say, I'm wrong, and I'm sorry. It was because I was tired. But should you follow your daddy to do what is right? They said, no. I said, don't follow me. Oh. So don't follow your daddies to do what is right, young people. What is wrong? Don't follow them to do what is wrong. So I will skip the others. Let's move on and let's go to the conclusion. Do you wonder? I didn't talk about in criticism of government. I've always believed that if we do the right things right, those issues will be brought within control. And as McKinsey's report states, massive spending on education does not always have the desirable outcomes. The unexpected outcomes of 2013 intervention by the federal government is still living with us here. We spent so much money, but what did we get? Even some institutions did not have the capacity to spend money. You know that there's something that is called the capacity to spend money. You give some people money, they will freeze. I had a teacher who was going to get a job with Shell, and he lost it because his annual expenditure he was spending as head of the department was $5,000. And he was to spend $500,000 annually in the new job. They said, my friend, you can't spend money. He said, I can spend money. They said, go and say, we know what we are talking about. Here we use money to make money. They gave him a job as a patrolman, security. So, and then a program may be well thought out and still record perplexing failure. You plan everything, you will still fail. Now, we can't say everything here. Let's move on because we are all there. So our university system, as I said, is producing expected outcomes very brilliantly. So stop, when anybody asks you that our universities are not doing well, please stop telling them, don't agree with them. Tell them that they are doing very well, very badly. We cannot resolve the problems of funding without addressing the triad of poor financial management, moving from a supply-side system to a demand-driven one, eliminating the inefficiencies in the system, which accounts for about 40% of the costs, controlling the endemic corruption, and promoting students' mobility. Now, the cost. That's why when people are talking about charging of, who is going to pay for the 11,000 staff of Calabar? Who is going to pay for them? It's government, Abi. Charge families for it. So as things stand, there is no reward for good behavior, no punishment for bad behavior. And the model of resource distribution is political and allocative. It is my opinion that the Nigerian higher education sector is doing very well by producing expected outcomes based on the model and operational parameters existing. It is set up to return failure and it is doing badly at it because it ought to be excelling brilliantly in failure. How it still manages to return some good results is bewildering. When I see UCH and see all the things that I wonder, I say, how are these people still able to survive and doing all these things? I look at this thing, I say, this system is supposed to be a wreck. But some people are using the energy. Let me tell you who are the people who are funding things. The lecturers are subsidized. And it's just about 20% of the lecturers that are subsidizing the system. 80% of people in the system are not working. That is why even if I were to be your Minister of Education, I will have a challenge. Because we have to change the way this business is run. The education business, we have to change the way it runs. The leadership crisis we have in Nigeria is a problem, partly a problem of the crisis we have created because of the nature of the products we have produced from a system that lacks ideological and philosophical focus. Now, I have said this, I don't need to repeat myself. So, let's just go to the final. Una do well, oh. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to request a round of applause again for our speaker. Thank you very much, sir. That was a very engaging lecture. I'm tempted to call you uncle, but you already said that it suggests that we want money from you. But honestly, some of your thoughts are thoughts that I share online. You know, I'm very active on Twitter, and I get into fights when ASU is mentioned. So I had to put a proviso on my timeline. I'm ASU, don't engage. Because so many people are unable to understand what the issues are. And I think it's, from the way he has spoken, we are part of the problem because we don't elucidate properly what the issues are. And so people ignorantly share what is in their minds, and then we get angry. Why are you saying that? We are on strike because if you told them before, they would know why you're on strike. Thank you very much. I think Professor Oke would be proud of the level of discussions that we've had today. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge quite a number of people who are online, listening in. We appreciate you. We recognize your presence. We are mindful of the fact that, you know, not everybody can be here, but you wanted to celebrate with us. On behalf of the family of Professor Bankole Oke and the Dean of the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, we say thank you and we appreciate you very much. At this time, I'd like to request that we all stand and observe a 1-minute silence. May the soul of Professor Bankole Olusiji Oke rest in perfect peace eternally. Amen. Also, I'd like to request that at this time we will go downstairs to take photographs, which will conclude the first part of this colloquium. And then the tea break it comes right after for all of us, everybody, whether you are registered or not. We will serve you tea this morning, and then after that, the scientific sessions will commence. Thank you so very much for honoring Professor Oke. We are so very grateful.
Hello. Hello.
Attention, please. We'd like all presenters to please take their presentations to the scientific desk to be loaded before they come back to present, please. As a matter of urgency, if you have a presentation scheduled, please take your presentation to the scientific desk at the back of the hall on the left-hand corner to be loaded ahead of your presentation, please. Thank you.
Hello, check mic 1 2. Hello, check mic